Community service means to freely offer yourself for tasks that need to be done in the community. Although a rudimentary topic, and one that the Rotary Club is very well aware of, I think that it is very important for high school students to have volunteer experience. Therefore, I believe that if the Rotary four-way test is applied, we will see the importance of high schools requiring community service hours as a graduation requirement. As I mentioned before, the idea of volunteering is not a new one to most people. Many have helped out a cause at one time or another. They may have picked up trash on the side of the road or gone caroling in the nursing home. But this is where the problem lies. Community service is not to be done once, but rather over and over again, so that one may acquire more experiences, making them a well-rounded person. So, we can ask ourselves, is it the truth that community service is important and should be a graduation requirement? People around the world, and members of the Rotary Club especially, will answer with a resounding yes. The Rotary Club's guiding principle is service above self. Sometimes, a person may have to make sacrifices to complete such a task. For example, my church works with Malta, which is a street ministry in New London, Connecticut. We work with the street ministry on Friday nights, and for members of my youth group, this has meant giving up Friday night high school football games and other activities. Although the sacrifice is small, in comparison to the joy that comes from helping others, we must also ask ourselves, is it fair to require high schoolers to take their own times and to organize times when they can volunteer? This question may seem difficult to answer. Many kids in the public school system come from single-parent families or families where there are two working parents. They might not have rides to community service events or encouragement to get the hours done. However, if schools required community service hours for graduation, this might create school-sponsored service events. It is also fair to ask such requirements because there is a never-ending need for volunteer help. In fact, my local newspaper ran an article this past month listing all the towns in the surrounding areas and the neighborhood centers or soup kitchens that needed help. Therefore, it is also fair to ask this of high schoolers because the resources to fulfill such requirements are right at their fingertips. It is also fair because our country supports such demands. In 1990, a student and his parents in Rye, New York, tried to sue their school system on the basis that their 13th Amendment right was being violated by requiring what they thought was involuntary servitude. Courts rejected their appeal on the basis that services are rationally related to school and government's interest. The third question of the Rotary test in regards to volunteering does not need to be asked, but rather it can be stated. Service given of yourself builds goodwill and better friendships. This past Thanksgiving, I was invited by a friend to help with Thanksgiving food basket preparation at our local neighborhood center. My friend and her family have been doing it a while, and they invited a bunch of people they knew to come along. As we packed boxes and sorted food, my friend and I had the chance to simply talk and joke around. We were able to connect for a longer time than we usually do, thus benefiting our friendship. And aside from building friendships with the people you are working with, sometimes you have a chance to build a friendship with the people you are working for. This happens especially when you are involved in long-term volunteer projects, as might result if you are required to do a community service. The important part of volunteering is that for the moments you are interacting with the people, you care about them, you want to help them, and most times they will graciously receive your help, changing your outlook on the world and maybe theirs. The last question of the test, is it beneficial to all concerned, can be answered by reviewing a speech given by Senator Christopher Dodd last summer. Dodd commented that we know by all the online chat rooms and online communities that high schoolers want shared experiences. He says that volunteering is that kind of shared experience that could build better leaders of tomorrow. Dodd and many others like yourselves, I'm sure, know that volunteering does not harm anyone. It benefits both the person receiving and the one giving the service. Those receiving the service get outward benefits, while those giving the service get inward benefits. The joy of knowing someone or something has benefited because of what you have done. Volunteerism is for everyone. It is for the young and it is for the old. It is for the single and it is for families. It is for the jock, the bookworm, and the student government member. But perhaps more importantly, it is for the alienated members of our student body who are prone to causing school violence and dropping out due to their lack of connection with anybody or anything. By applying the Rotary 4-way test, we can easily see that it is the truth that volunteering should be a graduation requirement. It is fair to demand such things because resources are readily available and our government supports it. Volunteering will build better friendships and goodwill because it is beneficial to all concerned. In a time when teenagers are unsure of themselves, volunteering can make them comfortable in their own skin. It can show a teenager what they really enjoy doing and maybe direct them into their life's work. And by being involved in volunteer efforts early, it may encourage them to join clubs like the Rotary when they're older. The satisfaction that comes from service above self is like no other, and therefore it should be a graduation requirement of all the high schools in Connecticut. Thank you.